Well, it's been a long time coming, but at long last, the official trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, the sequel to 2023's Super Mario Bros. Movie, has just come out, and let's not bother beating around the bush. Let's jump into the trailer to see what we can find, and then we can start talking about the film in some more general terms. Okay, so the trailer begins with a pretty good gag involving Bowser. Obviously, at the end of the first movie, Mario and Luigi powered up with the stars, and they beat him up and shrunk him down to keep him prisoner. However, the existence of a second movie and the fact that Bowser's a major recurring antagonist in the video game franchise would suggest that he's going to return as a major villain in this film. I mean, hell, he's actually the villain in the original Mario Galaxy game, so the implication right here at the start is that he somehow escaped and is back in his new evil lair plotting vengeance. He grabs his paintbrush, which felt very Bowser Jr. coded, especially that first swing, and he keeps on painting super intensely. So the implication here being that he's free and probably painting a picture that's plotting his revenge. It does briefly play out that way as well, as we see that the painting is a screaming Mario skeleton, before giant Luigi flicks on the lights and peers inside the castle, revealing that Bowser's still a captive and is now living his life in an evil dollhouse pretty much. This was perfectly ridiculous, and I think they left the reveal just long enough to build up that almost jump scare, and then when the reveal does come, it's extremely funny. I do love the difference here in the way that both Mario and Luigi behave. Right from the get-go, when the brothers turn up, Mario is massively standoffish and cold, not even wanting to speak or look at Bowser. Meanwhile, Luigi seemingly becomes sort of friends with him, calling him big guy like you would to a small child, leaning down to get on his level, and just having this gentle tone of voice. I've always loved Luigi, and I really hope this franchise ushers in a fresh wave of Luigi appreciation, as he is the man. Bowser tells him he'll be right up, and there's a cute little scene where Bowser's running up all the different levels of his house excitedly, where he's singing to himself and he trims his bonsai tree, and then he gets to the door ready to show off his new painting and takes this deep breath to psych himself up. Look, I already liked Bowser in the original movie, as I pretty much enjoy Jack Black in any role, and I found the character extremely funny and compelling. Here though, in this trailer, my enjoyment reached the next level, to the point that I don't want him to become a villain again. Him being this cute little version of himself that loves painting and is Luigi's little buddy is just peak shenanigans to me, and it also lets the franchise introduce various other characters to be the villains, as let's be real, if he does ever get his size back, there's no chance he stays reformed. On top of that, I just think that Jack Black's performance really suits the character in this respect, and I want it to stay that way, I suppose. He psychs himself up, selects the painting that he wants to show them, and goes out onto the balcony, being really chummy with Luigi and then really distant with Mario. I don't know why I found this as funny as I did, but it just got me. I will say though that I found it extra funny that at the very least, despite Bowser clearly disliking Mario as much as Mario dislikes him, seeing as he made a painting of him being dead, that Bowser's able to at least be civil, but Mario can't even do that. I wonder if that's going to play a role in the story at all, or if it's just going to be a little gag for the trailer for that early stage of the movie. Here we get the reveal of the painting that he made, which is essentially of a handsome, Chadley version of himself with peach fawning over his abs and his hair swaying in the breeze. Okay, for starters, this reveal was hilarious, but also, my god, what a good artist Bowser is, right? Luigi is right, the use of colors is very nice, although I love that his go-to compliment is about that, whilst not saying a thing about the actual content of the painting whatsoever. Mario, however, sticks to his guns about not being friendly at all to Bowser, and he tells him straight up the painting is trash. No hesitation either, not a single constructive critique, he just takes an absolute shit on the quality of the work, and of course Bowser doesn't like that one bit. He starts raging and smashes up the painting, before threatening to kill Mario and melt the skin off his bones. He then realizes what he's doing, he calms down and awkwardly goes back inside and accidentally shuts the door on his tail. I do love a good bit of slapstick, although this does make me wonder if Bowser's actually going to be genuine. Is he really trying to change as a person, or change as a Koopa, or is he massively sneaky and trying to stay on their good side until the opportunity to escape and grow back to his normal size presents itself? I kind of hope he's genuine, as I think it's a very funny status quo, but I could also see the reasoning if they go that route, because you could use him as villain again. To tell you the truth though, I think the real money's in anti-hero Bowser teaming up with Mario and Luigi to face down an even greater threat. Before we move on from Bowser in this early section of the trailer, I do want to say that I love the little mannerisms they've given him, like him awkwardly running his hands through his hair as if he's kind of nervous about showing off his painting, and then being awkward after blowing his top at Mario. So this opening sequence took a good minute of the trailer, so slightly over half the runtime is dedicated to a fairly long gag. Maybe you could argue that they lingered on it a little too long, but I don't know, I kind of like it because it's not showing off too much of the story. These days, I do have a massive aversion to spoiling too much in trailers and showing off all the best moments, lines, and jokes, because it ends up making it feel a whole lot less special when it comes time to go to the cinema and watch the movie for the first time. That's why I really like this trailer, because it does exactly what it needs to do. It showcases a funny joke to reacquaint you with the old characters, introduces a new villain in very basic terms, and then has a big old visual showcase to build the hype and get the audience nice and excited. So we go from the toy castle to the real castle in the Mushroom Kingdom, with Mario and Peach standing together on the roof watching a whole heap of shooting stars, and I gotta say, holy shit. This looks absolutely incredible, doesn't it? I mean, I'll be honest, I've never really thought about Illumination being a studio that's massively reliant on top-tier visuals. It's not that their films look bad or anything, I guess they just never wowed me in the same way that I have been for Pixar across pretty much their entire run, Revival era Disney onwards, and then even a few select films from the likes of DreamWorks. I'm mostly thinking about How to Train Your Dragon when I say that, but there have been others as well. Illumination though, I don't know, it's just never stood out in that way if you get me, but here, holy shit, it looks incredible in every respect. We see Peach and Toad jumping into a star launcher thingy. If it has an official name, I've completely forgotten it. And they blast off to a water planet, which once again, looks absolutely incredible. We see Mario and Luigi on motorbikes on a desert planet, I suppose, and once again, I know I keep harping on about it. It looks absolutely incredible. We have Peach in an action sequence fighting some random little dudes, no idea who they are, but she's kicking their asses, and once again, whole sequence looks amazing, and I really like that she fights like she does in the actual games with the umbrella and everything. I think it just shows a general care to stay true to the franchise, even as they make the adaptation, which in my experience is somewhat rare when it comes to the big companies making video game movies. Here, it actually seems like it's being made by people who are familiar with the franchise, or at the very least, they want to score brownie points with fans of the games, and so are being as faithful as they can while still going in the direction they need to for the sake of making a decent film that fits into the cinematic universe they're building. We then meet our villain of the film, Bowser Jr., the son of Bowser, who I don't think was actually mentioned at all during the first movie, who's wielding his classic paintbrush and using evil black paint. I'm really curious about this guy and the extent to which he's bonded to Bowser, who was simping hard in the first movie. Is this a bit of a misdirection in that he seems like he's there to try to rescue his dad, only to actually want to do something really nasty to him instead? They never speak during the course of the trailer, and so I think the proof we need is Bowser's reaction to seeing his son. If he's thrilled, then they're going to team up, and then maybe there's going to be a betrayal down the line, but if he's panicking, I think it's going to be a funny role reversal from the first movie, where now he's being held hostage and he needs to be rescued from a crazy Koopa with a score to settle. We then see Bowser Jr. arrive at Peach's castle, and then go from his classic design into a corrupted black paint form, which I guess probably makes him a whole lot stronger and more aggressive/violent. This is almost certainly going to be the first time we see him in the film. I'm thinking this will be the order of events. We have a little bit of a reintroduction of the Mario Brothers, Peach, Bowser, Toad, and the Mushroom Kingdom before Bowser Jr. turns up, uses the paint to beat up Mario and Luigi, and steals back his dad before making a getaway and doing whatever he's planning on doing, whilst the gang try to track them down. We then finish off the trailer with our first look at Rosalina, who's confronted by some giant robot and proceeds to kick its ass. Now this feels like something right out of Smash Brothers, where this character who seems pretty unassuming randomly whips out super powerful attacks and sends the big enemy flying. I do wonder how she's going to play into the overall story, as so far the majority of the plot we've seen here really is unrelated to her. I guess I'll have to wait and see for a further trailer to know more. So yeah, this trailer looks amazing, and it's crazy to see how far the franchise has come, really. I remember when the first movie was announced way back when, and people were so deeply skeptical, and I'm sure I was among them. Video game movies had historically been truly terrible and embarrassing, with either minimal effort put into making it good, or so much being changed that it no longer felt like the same world as the games. When Chris Pratt was first announced, and even when the first trailer came out, I remember people doomsaying and talking about how it was going to be garbage and that it was going to bomb. But what do you know? I actually thought it was a really good movie, and on top of that, it made a whole heap of money, rapidly becoming one of the most successful animated films ever made. Yeah, some reviewers tried to massively poo-poo it and give it bad scores, but in the end, the audience loved it, and it did well enough that it spawned a sequel and discussion of multiple spin-off films for non-Mario characters, with I think Donkey Kong at the very least having a lot of traction. In the end, it grossed $1.3 billion and generated a shit ton of hype, and I was kind of curious as to whether the next film would be able to maintain it. It started really strong with the announcement they were adapting Super Mario Galaxy, which was a massively popular video game, and then this trailer release is showing good signs too. As of writing this, it came out about a day ago and already has 4.3 million views on the trailer, which are pretty good numbers overall, especially for what is barely more than a teaser setting the stage. Yeah, the trailer for the first film did monster numbers, and it isn't likely to catch those, but even then, I think it has a good chance to surpass the original film at the box office, simply due to the fact that sequels tend to do really well from the big name studios in the current market. In the world of animation, nostalgia is the big thing of the 2020s, and seemingly the only thing that's getting people in the door, as opposed to the 2010s, where there was a healthy mixture of both sequels and original content doing well at the box office. So I really do think that this is going to do some massive numbers, and the response to the trailer itself actually seems quite positive. There's a lot of hype being generated and a lot of positive comments being made. I also have to say that it seems in the end they made the right choice with a lot of the voice acting. I mean, I don't think that back in the day people were all that fussed about Jack Black voicing Bowser, because in the end, Jack Black's an amazing talent who brings his all every single role, and Bowser's no exception to this. As for Toad and Peach, same sort of vibe. It didn't really matter to a lot of people. I will stand by the fact that I do not think that Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was the right fit, then, now, or ever, but I think the majority of the initial disdain was directed towards the Mario Brothers voices specifically, and Mario himself, voiced by Chris Pratt. Around this time, the dude's rep was in the gutter for one reason or another, and you had people unironically saying that they should have kept him using those phony Italian accents. And a lot of this has to be nostalgia talking, right? Do we still have people that actually think that would have been a good idea? It's funny and it works in the games because Mario generally has limited dialogue, with his most iconic moments being screaming, saying "Mamma Mia" or "Yahoo!" Sit back and really imagine all of Mario's dialogue and Luigi's dialogue in the first movie, but instead of just normal American accents, they're full Luigi the pizza guy from The Simpsons. It would have been extremely funny for the first 10 minutes and very quickly would have become massively grating and annoying to the point that the movie wouldn't have been nearly as well received as it is now. It probably would have done okay, but I think word of mouth would have damaged its run and it would be looked back on as very, very cringy. Thus, I really like the current direction and I'm keen to see how the new members of the cast fare. Of course, though, with all that being said, these have just been my opinions and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the Super Mario Galaxy trailer? Did you like it? Hate it? Are you hyped for the film? Maybe not? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let me know.